13.2 Probability Distributions and Frequency Tables. A frequency table is a data display that shows how often an item appears in a category. Relative frequency is the ratio of the frequency of a category to the total of the frequency. So relative frequency is the ratio of the frequency of a category to the total frequency. So it would be like how often something occurs in one category over the total number of times it occurs in the entire frequency of data. So finding relative frequencies. What is the relative frequency of the preference of rock music? So if we look at this frequency table here, we get that 10 kids preferred rock music. So if we're setting up relative frequency for this, we need to remember that in this case, relative frequency is going to be equal to, in this case, we're talking about rock over total number of kids in the frequency table in general. So we know we've got 10 kids that like rock music, and there's a total of 40 students in the frequency table. So it's 10 to 40, or in this case, 1 out of 4 or 1/4 is your relative frequency. We can then do the same thing for looking for classical. Well, classical, we'll take classical, which in this case is 5, over the total, which would be 40, which would be 1/8 or 1 out of 8. We're looking at hip-hop. Well, hip-hop is 7, so that'd be 7 over 40. That one doesn't really reduce, so we're kind of done there. And then last but not least, we have the country music, which would be 8 out of the 40 students, which this reduces down to 1 out of 5 or 1/5. You can use relative frequency to approximate the probability of events. Well, so here we're talking about a student conducts a probability experiment by tossing 3 coins at one time after another. One after another. Using the table below, what is the probability that exactly 2 heads will occur in the next 3 tosses? So here, for our relative frequency, we're looking for the probability of, or the chances of, 2 heads over total frequency. So we have to look at all the occurrences that 2 heads came up. So here we've got this one, it showed up. Oh, it says exactly 2 heads, so that one won't work. That's 3. So we've got exactly 2 heads here. We've got exactly 2 heads here, exactly 2 here, and that's it. Those are the only ones with exactly 2 heads. So that means our relative frequency for 2 heads is actually the combination of 6 plus 7, or 7 plus 6 plus 2. And then we take that over the total frequency for the entire number of throws. Well, there were 50 total throws here. So in this case, we're looking at 15 over 50, which reduces down to 3 over 10. So the probability of 2 heads is 3 out of 10 throws, or 0.3 as a decimal, or 30% in this case. A student conducts a probability experiment by spinning the spinner shown. Using the results in the frequency table, what is the probability of the spinner pointing at a 4 on the next spin? So we've got the frequency for 4 over total. That's what we're looking for. Well, 4s came up 18 times out of the total number here, which is 100. So 18 out of 100, we can reduce that down to 9 over 50. So the probability of spinning a 4 the next time around is 9 out of 50, or right around 18%. Question 3. The table below shows the number of athletes from different sports at a reward ceremony. What is the probability that a randomly selected athlete is a cross-country runner? So now we're looking for cross-country over total. So cross-country, we've got 18 over the total number of individuals in the frequency table. So 104. So 18 over 104 gives us a Probability of 9 over 52. So a probability distribution shows the probability of each outcome. Probability distributions can be shown in frequency tables. So here we're talking about finding a probability distribution. In a recent competition, 50 archers shot 6 arrows each at a target. 3 archers hit no bullseyes. 7 archers hit 3 bullseyes. 11 hit 4 bullseyes. 10 hit 5 bullseyes. 7 hit 6 bullseyes. What is the probability distribution for each number of bullseyes, or the number of bullseyes each archer hit? So across the top, we just have the options for 0 bullseyes. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, the number of bullseyes hit. And then as we read through it, 3 archers hit no bullseyes. There we go. Seven of them hit 3 bullseyes. And 1 bullseye, we'll put 5 here, and we'll put 7 here. And so the frequencies for the number of bullseyes hit by the various numbers of archers. And so now we just create the probability based off of that. And so remember, probability is relative frequency for that action over total. Well, there are 50 archers, and so for probability here, you've got 3 over 50. Here you would have 5 over 50, which will reduce to 1 over 10. Then you have 7 over 50, doesn't reduce. 7 over 50. We've got 11 over 50, doesn't reduce. 10 over 50, which is 1/5. And then 7 over 50. On a math test, there were 10 scores between 90 and 100, 12 scores between 80 and 89, 15 between 70 and 79, 8 scores between 60 and 69, 2 scores below 60. What is the probability distribution of the possible outcomes for the test scores? So as we look at this, we're looking at possible scores. So we'll just start here. We'll say, let's do 100 to 90. We'll do 89 to 80, 79 to 70, and then 69 to 60, and then below 60. And so the frequency in which this occurs, we have 10 here, 12, 15, 8, and 2. And so the probability, remember, is the frequency over the total. Well, there were a total of, in this case, 47 scores. So we've got 10 over 47, 12 over 47, 15 over 47, 8 over 47, and then 2 over 47. Question 3, same idea. Terrence has had 33 hits, 12 walks, 21 strikeouts, 22 groundouts, and 27 flyouts this season. So he's playing baseball. What is the probability distribution for his batting performance this season? So we're just going to account for each of those different options. We've got hits, walks, we'll say strikeouts, groundouts, and then flyouts. So the occurrence of the hits, we have 33. We had 12 walks, 21 strikeouts, 22 groundouts, and 27 flyouts. The total number of things that occurred in this particular frequency distribution here would be 115. If you add up all of the things in the different frequencies, you get 115. So the probability for a hit is 33 out of 115. A walk would be 12 out of 115. Strikeout, 21 out of 115. Ground out, 22 out of 115. And fly out, 27 out of 115. So the last part of this is the lesson check. So putting together everything we've seen so far. So pause the video, attempt the lesson check, and then check your answers by unpausing the video when you're ready. The results of the survey show the frequency of responses for preferred music formats. What is the relative frequency for the following formats? So CD, we've got your relative frequency would be 54, and then we have to put this over the total. So the total number of events that occurred here is 142. So we've got 54 over 142, which in this case actually does reduce. All right, so we've got 27 over 71. Then we go to MP3. MP3, we're looking at 28 over 142, which also reduces to 14 over 71. Blu-ray, we've got 10 over 142, reduces to 5 over 71. And then radio is 50 over 142, which in this case is 25 over 71.